look, these things just start pretty much off the cuff. So, Sue, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
It's not been a long journey for you, has it?
Not been a long journey for me at all, no. I'm just very local at York College.
Nice, thank you. What we'll start off with is, in these podcasts, we like to know your journey into the world of education. Take us back right to the beginning.
Well, my journey is quite a simple one, actually. I'm a York girl. I went to York College after school. I did CSEs and O-levels. I'm that ancient. And I went to York College after school because I wanted to join the Air Force. I had 2 brothers in the Air Force and thought, well, I'll go in the Air Force. But you couldn't go in then until you were 17. So I went to college just to kill a year, really. But my horizons were opened by being at the college. I did business and finance and then applied to university, went to university, did business and marketing at university. While I was at university, I actually worked at Yates's Wine Bar. I worked at Yates's in York and Yates's in Huddersfield.
I reckon you serve me.
I'm a lot older than you.
What year was that?
No, I'm ancient. So I was 18 in 1988, and so I went to uni in 89. So I would have been working at Yates's from 89 to about 2000.
You'd have been 5.
To about 92.
92,
yeah. So you were far too, exactly.
6.
So I don't think I was serving you at Yates's at 6 years.
Sorry.
So I worked at Yates's in York when I was at home, and then in Huddersfield when I was back at uni. And then drifted into their management programme at the end of uni, got married. My husband and I ended up working in Brighton. We went down to Brighton and we managed a wine bar in Brighton. Long story short, we ended up coming back to the York area. I had my son, and when he was a little bit old, a couple of years old, I decided I wanted to go back to work because I'd had a couple of years off. And I thought, I'll apply to the college because that'll be really great. That'll fit around having a son and term time only, etc. As it happened, it wasn't term time only, but holidays are not bad at the college, and they had out of school clubs, etc., etc. And I've actually been at the college 27 years, which sounds a bit sad. It sounds sad. But I've had loads and loads of opportunities at the college to work in different teams, to work in different areas. So I started as a team leader in the teaching and learning admin team, and then moved into the business development unit, where I've pretty much been most of the time. I had 10 years as a project manager, which was absolutely fantastic. We had lots of different funders giving us money to support people developing in their roles or getting into employment for people who were unemployed or people who were wanting to go back to employment who've had career breaks. So the opportunity to work with people at all levels, from sort of middle management, senior level, through to people who are wanting to make the first steps into employment or go back into employment. And that was fantastic those years. I had the opportunity to go to Poland, and then I ended up back in the business partnership team, working in all sorts of different employer engagement roles, supporting apprenticeships, supporting the work placement team, etc. And now I'm in the partnerships team at the college, working with businesses and doing, all sorts of things to support businesses and to support the college, the students and the staff with all sorts of things.
Nice. 27 years.
27 years.
I saw that.
No.
That's so refreshing, though. Do you not think that's like you've enjoyed working at a place because there's been so much variety?
Yeah, and I've had chance to develop. And it's interesting because I do hear people say, I've been there wherever they've been a couple of years now, it's time to move on. Well, is it time to move on, or is it time to look within your organisation at how you can develop, how you can expand your role, what you can get involved with? I don't know.
Is it easier to turn your back on something, or is it easier to think, actually, what more can I do?
What can I do within the organisation I'm already working for? And I do love it at the college, I have to say. I do love working there.
Makes me look really bad, mate. If you look at my CV, I think I'm like 15 jobs in it last
time. Ping pong.
But
that's not unusual.
The counter side to that is the fact that it's only been done as growth is happening. Growth's happening, which means there's a new venture. But I think there's massive credit to be given there. 27 years, and you still love it.
I absolutely love it.
Look at how you've just introduced yourself.
Yes, I know. Nice.
So we met in through networking, which I was surprised at actually, because I want to talk a little bit about apprenticeships, because I know that you're massively involved in these, and me and Lee were out networking at York Professionals, and it was a pleasant surprise to see someone from the York College. And didn't you say that you had one of Sue's college students within the team?
We did. So I think it was a part of their second year of their qualifications. They had to do so many days in industry.
So that would have been an industry placement. So that would have been a student who was doing a T-level programme, which is the new qualification, relatively new qualification, where students are at college and have a mandatory part of their programme, which is a work placement, an industry placement, and they have to do 315 hours of work placement. So it's quite a chunky work placement. So that's slightly different to an apprenticeship, where a student would be, an apprentice would be employed by the company and then come to the college or a provider to do their training.
A day release.
It's a day release or a block release in some instances.
Yeah, this was the window of the time that they came. But no, it was really good. Do you know what? The individual was it was switched on. He understood instructions and things. But I think what he benefited from was it gave him insight on where he wanted to go with what he wanted to do next. Because I think he'd gone onto this course and was still a little bit, well, I'd like to do this, but I'm not sure how to get there.
Yes.
But he's now done a placement year close to his university.
In building surveying?
In building surveying, yeah.
So there you go then. Right.
I suppose they're the trigger points to sort of turn around and say, well, absolutely, that's 100% why you do the experience at that time in their education, so that they know what they're getting themselves into. Because more standardised routes of A-level, things like that, do you get that exposure to that outside realism? Possibly not.
And that's one of the reasons, I think, why the government had brought the new T-level programme in, because they recognise the amazing benefits of the work experience side of things. So they made that a mandatory part of the programme. So when students are applying for a T-level, they know they're going to be doing the industry placement, so they're committed to doing it. And it's like I say, it's a good sized work experience. It's 42, 45 days in a business. Sometimes students do more, and they can work with more than one employer, but we do like them to be with one employer if they can. But they can do a taster week, 35 hours with one company, and then have up to 2 other employers. And sometimes, like for example, in the construction industry, that can be helpful. But in an ideal world, we'd like a student to work with a business and really get, in depth with that business, have a real meaningful work placement with them, which is obviously what happened with you and your placement student. And we have quite a few different topic areas where we have students who require those in-depth work placements, as well as the T-level. We have some vocational programs which have mandatory work placements in the health and care sector as well.
Just T-levels, just for those that have no idea what T-levels are. What does it mean?
Well, actually, we've got an event coming up next week that we have an introduction to T-levels and to the industry placements. So if anybody's interested in coming along to an event, if they get in touch, I can send them some information. But basically, with a T-level programme, it's a 2-year programme, and students do their qualification, their studies in college, and they go out either 1 or 2 days per week after around about Easter time in their first year. So for their first year, they'll go out from about Easter time on to the end of that academic year. Some students will work over the summer, and then they'll restart their industry placement in the September and do it through the second year until they've completed all of their hours.
Right.
So my understanding is the T part is technical. Is that
yes,
like a technical level?
Technical. So is that because they learn by being hands-on rather than being in a classroom?
So they're in the classroom. We like them to have a good bit of study under their belt, which is why they don't tend to go out till February or Easter time in their first year. So they get some of the theory under their belt, some of their knowledge about the workplace under their belt, and then they're going out into the workplace to learn about businesses and how businesses work, and see businesses and just be in that environment where they're understanding what's going on, and they can link it back to their studies and relate it to their studies. So, for example, business management students, they're learning all different theory and theories about business and leadership styles. Well, we're not expecting them to go out and do a placement as a manager, but they're in the environment where they're seeing how managers lead, they're seeing what the business practices and policies and the way they operate are, and then they can relate their studies to what's happening. They can all then talk about the different businesses that they're at and how they manage different things in different scenarios. They're witnessing how people are leading teams and how management's taking place, and hopefully getting the kind of the best practice and the best experience.
I never knew what T-levels were. I was never brought up in that. I finished school in 2002. So that was my last education thing. But when I was at school, so in 2000, 2001, I was never given them options to do T-levels or anything. I left school.
I don't think they were.
They've only been around for, I think, about 5 years at the most.
So, and then
I thought we started off with a few programmes. And
vocational, wasn't there? Sort of like BTEC
vocational,
and things like that.
So we've always had vocational and A-level as your two options. And then, work experience has been something that's been really, really valued, but not being a core part of a lot of programmes. And this is a programme that has the work placement, the industry placement as a core part of the qualification, which is fantastic.
Do you know what's interesting about when I was at school, right? It always felt like that I was on my own, and stepping now into this world and seeing how much support there is, how much colleges and further education want to support the younger generation.
Absolutely.
But when I was back at school, it felt like you either had to have your qualifications or you were in the mud. Well, and that's when I left school and went and worked at McDonald's.
It's funny.
In the mud.
It's funny that you say that, because when you sort of said, we'll talk a little bit about my career journey and then bits about the college, I was thinking back and I was thinking, careers advice when I was at school, girls were sort of nursing, secretarial, teaching, and I'm assuming boys would be construction, engineering kind of a thing. And it was very much the stereotypes, very different to how it is now. And I meet people all the time now and I learn about roles and I think, I wish I'd known about that. I had no clue about that. So like I say, when I was at school, I was going to college just to kill a year, found out about lots of different options, and that's what we're trying to do at college. Is the students are doing their studies and their topic that they've chosen, their curriculum area, and we're trying to open horizons for them of all the options within the industries that they've chosen and wider, so that they really do have the broadest options, the broadest spectrum of things to think about that they can do as their next steps. So, for example, I know that you guys have been in and done talks in college, and students have done site visits, and that's the sort of thing that we're always looking for employers to do with us, to come in and talk about their business, their particular organisation, open horizons for students, let students come out and see their business if it's appropriate for students to be on site at their location with them. And we're always looking for ideas and links in that way to open horizons for students to sort of think about the broadest possible spectrum, and then to also enhance their studies, make their studies a little bit more interesting, bring the real life element into the studies as well. So we're always looking for people to link up with the college who might be willing to come in and do talks or share their experiences, share their ideas.
That's one thing that sort of really inspired me when I look back. I think going back down memory lane, I went to a sixth form that was part of my school, secondary school, and it was just to go to college. It was I've got to get a bus, I've got to get a travel there, and I look back and think sometimes I wish I'd maybe give it a bit more chance to see what was available back then, because it was, since going to university, that's another stepping stone by going to college, whereas you're a bit protected when you've stayed in a smaller sixth form. But working with other colleges that we have, I'm amazed how we've been involved in T-levels and how we've adapted what's been a very sad classroom space into like a fully functioning ward for a hospital or for nursery care. And we actually went to one of the open evenings and saw potential pupils come in, and they're just amazed because it looks so real they thought they were actually in a hospital, and we'd created this, or the college had created this space where it was quite real. It wasn't just sort of, oh, well, I'm going to college to learn this. I'm actually going to college to actually do all these things. There was like real life dummies and ventilator machines and all these sort of things, which I'm sure is in York College as well.
People are very surprised who've not been into a college before when they come and have a look around. We have working salons, we've got nail bars, hairdressing suites, and members of the public can come in and use all of those, and students are working on them and doing their studies and doing assessments. We have a fantastic restaurant at the college. Formerly Ashfield's restaurant just had a brand new rebranding of the cookery. We have all sorts of themed evenings that we have and lunches that we have, and people come along and they're absolutely staggered by the quality of the food. Everything's made by the students, served by the students, and it's a training restaurant, but it's operating as a business within the college, and gives the students a chance to try different things that they might not be able to do within in the kitchens, in the workshops that they're in. You'll have obviously been round our new construction and engineering workshop. We've got all the latest different construction and engineering kit there, unbelievable levels. And then that's in the same in every department. We've got all of the fashion and the recording studios, etc. around college. We've just got the real kit in every different department that you would have in industry, and we're always trying to keep up to date with kind of industry. We have opportunities for work shadowing and industry upskilling for our staff, so we're really keen when organisations can support staff with that to keep them current with everything. We've got all sorts going on in the college in terms of the actual kit and what we've got there. We've got all sorts, it's not really my field of expertise, but all sorts of interactive areas now that in the college that we've got, and teams that can support students developing all their skills in those. Like you mentioned about the wards and the dummies, you can sort of have the room as a ward and all sorts of different stuff. Like I said, not really my area, but it sounds amazing.
We need to go. Do you know what? When Ash took us, I said when I was
flying visit.
I wish I could go back, and have the support there is today. Because I would have. Not that I'm not thriving now, because I'm on a podcast, aren't I?
Well, made it.
Things have gone all right. But it was just amazing to see how much opportunity it was. When we came in, do you remember this? There was a salon, and I'm like, is that for use?
Yeah.
And then it's making me think now, like, businesses like ours can, like, I guess we're not clued up enough to know, but coming in and understanding what's there and what we can lean on and how we can help them. And you would just wonder that what a different world it would have been if what had been available then. But I do have a question about,
go on,
because I like to be a little bit controversial. I haven't been yet on podcast, but we're going to be controversial
now.
Right,
go
then.
on.
Okay.
Is how college is the next part that moves people from children into college and then up into university, and we have this whole world of university where there's 1,000 million different courses, and it's lots of debt and people taking on courses because they feel that they have nothing else to go down. Do college focus a lot on skills? Like, is STEM a big part of the college's focus, doing skills that are valuable to them? I know this sounds really controversial, but you almost end up with people going to college and running down or going to university, after college, and running down courses that are very not art. We'll use art. Art's a great example, and this is not throwing shade on anything, but there's full 4 or 5 year degrees on art, but and that can get people in a lot of, people end up finishing the course in art, and then they end up with £100,000 worth of debt, and then feel like, what was the point in that? Just give us your thoughts on that. And our college doing courses for everything, or are they focused on skill sets that serve the economy, I would say?
So something that we do at college is we do employer advisory groups where we invite employers into the college to hear about what we've been doing, what our latest updates are, but to talk to us about what they need in terms of their future employees, what they need for their apprentices, so that we can look at the programmes that we're offering, and within the realms of possibility, within the constraints of the awarding bodies and timetables, etc., we can tweak programmes, we can look at modules, we can develop programmes that are meeting the needs of of employers and the students who are going, and students and apprentices who are going out there to work for those employers. So we can look at that and develop that. But when you talk about university and the potential debts that students can get into with university, that's why potentially an apprenticeship could be a great alternative offer, could be a great alternative, because students are working with that organisation, they're being paid, they're employed. You can do apprenticeships right up to the highest levels now, all through, up to degree levels, and a lot of businesses do offer those. And we have a progression month in March, and we talk to students all through their studies, but certainly in March we have loads of different opportunities for businesses to come in, for universities to come in, to talk to students and to sort of help them think about what their next steps would be and what's going to work for them. And university is a great option for some, not the best option for others. So there's a whole spectrum of offer now, which is open to students to think about for what they might want to do. We have higher education at the college, so students don't have to go to university. People can come to the college to do the HE programmes. They can come to college to do their adult studies, their professional studies, short course studies. So there's lots of different options, and I think people need to be aware that there's all sorts out there now.
That's a great mover on, because I've got a good question now, because adult education in college, which is normally, is it out of hours, would you say, is generally the
adult education? We do have evening classes. We do have some things that take place on Saturday morning in the college. Some things are in the daytime, but yeah, we have quite a lot in the evening. It's
just in my mind, it's hilarious, because I always used to think of it. I'm doing a night class at the college. And in my head, they're just doing a hobby. They're doing a hobby, like a joinery hobby, and I think I'd love to do that. I'd be a bit more handy around the house, or I could do this. But it's so much more than that, isn't it? There's probably so many different levels. But I think that stigma of we're just educating a bit more on skill set, that personally. But could you explain a bit more about that? Because I'm quite interested to understand how there is many different tiers.
Are you going back to college?
I don't know. Might be. Sounds like it.
Like sell him a course here.
Well,
you go through life doing it. Sorry, you go through life doing so many different things, don't you? And it's like you get to a point. Well, what's the purpose? But what you always need another challenge in life. Well,
it's an interesting question, and we do everything from the hobby type interest. So, for example, personally, I'm doing some cookery programs at the college, 5-week cookery programs, looking at different kind of patisserie and pasta. I've signed up for a couple of those.
Oh,
so I'm really looking forward to doing that. So I would call that a hobby. I'm not a chef. So yeah, that's definitely a hobby. But then we've got everything through to the professional studies. So something for your industry that's an awarding body accredited program that you might need for your development, for your CV, as well as obviously for personal development. So
do you try and reach out to employers to encourage those courses? Because I think as an adult, we'll say, or someone who's been in industry for a while, it seems a lot to think to yourself, I fancy doing that, or I fancy doing that, which is often the case. But is there an opportunity there to reach out to employers and say, well, we've got these courses going. Do you have any individuals or potential people that work?
Absolutely. So we have a range of short courses for businesses and for employers, and we're always looking to develop that range of short course offer through to we can develop bespoke packages. So if you've got a group of staff that you want training in a certain area, we can have a look and we can develop a program. We can work with our tutors and our associate trainers to develop something specific. We can even do that with our apprenticeship programs. We've developed a lot of our apprenticeship programs to have elements that are specific to you and your business and what you require, and sort of add to those and develop those apprenticeship offers. If you've got enough staff or if we've got enough demand for those programs, we can tweak the apprenticeship to make it really fit what you require. And then we've also got our range of professional studies, which might be something that you might need for your career and for your development.
Right.
That's really interesting. It's good. It's really good. We've not had anyone on from college yet, have we? Everything's always been like primary, secondary school education, and estates managers and stuff, which has been brilliant. But I'm loving
showing the spectrum, aren't we?
Absolutely, because now what we're seeing is like It's exciting, and I'm fully disconnected from the world of college. Yeah. I couldn't believe what we went round and was looking at within that room with Ash and all that, and I'm thinking, my world, it's incredible. Ash, I know, we need to get Ash on. Should we do a shout out for Ash? Ash, come on.
Ash Stokes.
Yeah, Ash Stokes, get him on the podcast. We've done loads of shout outs. So we're just going to go back to you at the second year. So 27 years within this, you must have seen it change.
I've seen quite a lot of changes. Yeah.
What's kind of the next thing for you then going on? Because you're obviously involved with partnerships at the moment, and all your work is around.
Yes.
Is it bringing external companies into the college and helping with that? Is that what you're up to today?
Yeah, so the key part of my role is about linking up with businesses, seeing what the college can do to help that business with their next steps, whether that be looking at their recruitment of students once they've finished their studies, and then, or whether that be looking at kind of anything that they can do projects-wise with our students, people who might want to come into the college to talk about their industry, their business, raise awareness with students of who they are and what they do, those industries that students might want to go into as their next steps. I also look after all sorts of things like sponsorship. We've got all sorts of opportunities for sponsorship at the college. I know you guys have been involved in our construction awards and sponsored one of our construction awards. We have, at the end of each academic year, we have our REACH awards. That's rewarding excellence and celebrating hard work. Achievement awards for students and businesses can sponsor those awards. We have all sorts of opportunities to sponsor physical space within the college, in our sports area. We have a lovely display in our construction and engineering area that there's opportunity to have sponsorship there. We've got some lovely plates in our new cookery, the cookery that I mentioned, where companies can have logos on the plates in the cookery, sponsorship there, as well as our sports teams, opportunity to sponsor our sports teams. We do some sponsorship as well. We've just sponsored a little football club over the way from us at the White Rose, Bishop Thorpe Football Club. We do all sorts of charity work as well. We do fundraising in the college where that sort of fits with student studies or where staff are doing something for charity. We have a couple of charities of the year which have been chosen by our students and staff, which this year are St Leonard's Hospice and the Island. So we do a range of charity work. I also help with various different events that we have at college. Like next week, we've got some volunteer organisations coming in to talk to students and staff and to show students and staff the range of volunteering opportunities that they might have, which can enhance their CVs and give them some really valuable skills and experience. So I support different teams with various events in college, like if we've got employer and apprenticeship days, we have people coming in. I also support with things like employability. So we do things like speed interviewing and mock interviewing. Employers might come in and give students hints and tips about interviews and CVs and applying for jobs. So all that kind of the full spectrum of anything you can imagine, a student and a college linking up together and staff linking up with a business kind of to facilitate that within the college. I mean, I don't do it all, but I link up with other people within the college to help sort of bring all the external world into the college and students out into the external world to sort of see what's going on and open their horizons really to what's going on out there.
I thought I did a lot, mate.
Exactly, yeah.
I don't do it all. I do work with other teams in the college to help facilitate all this stuff.
You're the glue.
You are the absolute glue. Yeah. Like, where were you when I was leaving school?
Yeah,
where was a Sue when I was leaving school? Like,
I was probably at Yates's wine bar.
Oh,
yes.
No, I wasn't.
What was your career advice? Or career advisory?
It's terrible.
Like,
well, this is
at school. Was it? What do you remember of it?
So I did work experience within this. I was into sports. I think all young people, I have to say, young boys at the time. I always used to play football.
What's happened?
Still do a bit of running, mate. Did Great North Run, didn't I? So I'm still doing a bit of running. But I was given work experience within the school. I went to Auckland's secondary school, which is now York High, and but I did my work experience within the PE division. So it was great, but it was almost like, this is what I was questioning. I'd feel it goes on nicely. There was no hope really for me. I won't say hope. I got an A in drama, How can you
drama
believe
queen.
it?
Wow.
A in drama, great actor.
Yeah.
A in drama, and the rest were failures, but they were just, it was that lack of concentration. It was D's and a couple of C's here, but I were a kid at all for grading. And I spoke about this actually on the podcast I did with Joe. It's everything I was doing was with people. I was really good with people and being able to have conversations and hold conversations. And I'm like, it was almost like I was being punished for that, yet there was no career for that.
But look at this role now, perfect for someone
well,
who's got an A in drama, isn't it? Perfect for an A in
That's
drama.
why we ended up doing the podcast. But now, right, so let's say there's kids now that are coming to year 11, right, and they're getting D's, E's, F's. I got a U in geography, that's how bad it was. That's a completely ungrade. But they now finish at 15 years old. They'll probably finish, maybe turn 16, depending on what month they were born in. But if they finish in with nothing, what's their route? So let's say a kid's got 5 Ds. Yeah. What's their option at that point? Because my only option was getting a job. Or I go and resit back into school. And I was like, I had no support in that point. But anyway, just what can
my best advice to anybody who's getting results and who maybe hasn't got the results that they wanted is to come along to the college and talk to us about what you're wanting to do, and there will be a program that we can put you on to help you get to where you need to be, whether that be something a little bit lower than you were planning to do to move you on, resits of your maths and English at college. I mean, obviously where someone can get the maths and English at school, do it, work really hard, get your maths and English. But if something happens and you don't get it at school, we can support with resits of maths and English. Our apprenticeships have the opportunity for students to do functional skills, so contextualise maths and English, functional maths and English alongside their apprenticeship to get their qualifications up if they haven't already got them. But speak to the college and see what we can signpost you through to.
Yeah, and I think it's a great question because ultimately it skewed my view of how important it was.
Absolutely.
Because today, in the role I do, I work in a very high intensity, high pressure environment. I sit in rooms making enormous deals in the world of construction. I came out with 0 qualifications and left school straight to McDonald's. That was my route. So how does that happen? And people say, it's a one-off, which, don't get me wrong, but it almost kind of went against the grain to say there's more than one of me. There's a millions of me. And I think sometimes I just hope, like in today's world, and I think it is, social media now is almost giving this world of you can do way more without them grades. And this isn't to, kind of water down. Grades are important because it puts you on the right path. But I tell a lot of people, like, now, if I'd known better, it's not the end of the world. It'll take you on a different
And
route.
I think that's why I love the role that I do now so much, is because the way I look at it is we are bringing the outside world into students who are coming to college so that they do have their horizons open to some of the options that are out there, things that they might not have known about, jobs that they might not have known about, industries they might not be aware of. And all of the colleges working to do that, to open horizons for students, to obviously teach them their qualifications and the skills that they need to get through the qualifications, but to look a bit more broadly at what they're doing and where that can take them and what that can lead them to, so that they have the widest range of options, so that they've got the awareness to make some choices. Because who at 15, 16 has an awareness of what's going on out there? I don't have an awareness of what's going on out there for everything, and I hear about things all the time and think, wow, if I'd known about that, maybe that would have been a different career opportunity. So you've got to bring all that into the students and sort of let them know about what's going on out there so that they can make informed choices and have a think about what they might want to do. I mean, I use that example of when I went to college, it was just to kill a year before I went into the Air Force. And I found out about going to university. Who knew that might have been an option back in the day? Nobody in my family had ever been. So to have that someone sort of saying, well, you're doing this qualification now, you've got, the opportunity to go and do that. That was something very different for me at that time. Now, at that time, it was very different because there was no fees, believe it or not. There was no university fees. They were all paid for. So I didn't come out with debt. So it's very different to today. So today it makes sense to look for different options that might be out there if you don't know if that's the right thing for you. But I would never have gone to uni if I hadn't gone to college and had my horizons open to it.
Do you have any regrets you didn't go into the Air Force?
Sometimes I was thinking about that this morning. Thinking, do you know what? I would have loved to have been in the Air Force because I love doing stuff. I'm a bit of an action kind of person, and I might be a very different person if I'd have done that. I don't know. I wouldn't say regret.
Fighter pilot. I wouldn't
say regret. Women couldn't be pilots when back in those days, because I'm so ancient. No, women couldn't be pilots. They can now, I believe.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I do wonder. Who knows if I'd have done that?
Yeah, it's
impressive.
Great.
You never know, do you?
No university fees.
No, back in the day,
no
university fees.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I was very lucky. I was the last year before they got jumped to like the astronomical values they are now. Yeah. So
what sort of fees did you have?
It was like, I think it was like maybe £1,000 a term.
I remember them were about £1,000, then they went to a 2, and then it's suddenly it's about 9 now.
Yeah.
£9,000. Yeah, I've heard about a few degrees, and I've thought, wow, I didn't even know you could get a degree.
Gaming, is it? Yeah. Be a professional gamer.
Mate, we've been down that route. We've had plenty of nights where we've been
self-taught
on PlayStation, we want to be Call of Duty PS4 players.
Yeah,
but do you know what? There's careers in anything now, isn't there?
Yeah,
anything.
There's one major point I picked away from Sue. I think it's really, really, I just want to touch on it again, is the advice and support given to making choices at 15, 16.
Yeah.
Because I think you look back from being born up to 15, your life's pretty much run for you. You go either by your parents or by education.
Yeah.
You go to geography at 9 o'clock. You go to English at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And it gets to a point where you're like, oh, you've got to decide now what do you want to do.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, history, geography.
Yeah.
Or do I want to do RE?
Even making your options decisions back in the day.
It was just like, I don't know what I want to do. And I think it's quite a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
and then people, and that's why you find that people going to do their A-levels.
Yeah.
They're probably doing something they don't want to do, but they think they should do it. And then you get a degree, you think, oh, I should do that.
Yeah.
I think it should be earlier. I think there should be probably more options and advice on taking options before even getting to college, because then it makes it so much easier to actually find a path that you want to do, rather than going, what am I going to do? Oh,
that's a great point.
Yeah.
How early on do you speak to the kids at
we have schools and colleges teams who go into schools and talk to all different years of students quite early on.
That's a great point, though. You're right. Yeah. You get to 15, you have to think about it, do you?
It's like a bullet point.
What do you want to do? Oh no, it's not. It's 13, and it's year 9.
You have some choices. Languages, I guess, is one that's always like, which one don't you want to do?
Any of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's a pick up.
Drama.
English is struggled with.
That was my first one. Yeah, drama. Do you know what? You're absolutely right. And there's loads we could talk about. These change. I think it'll change. I think what the college does is what school should be.
Yeah.
In all honesty, it's almost like there doesn't need to be so much pressure in them first 15 years. It's almost like go have fun. Yeah. And no matter what grades you get, and look, this is then you can move on, because what you're doing, you're creating the world environment.
Yeah.
Whereas almost like, I think why I'm bitter about it is because I didn't have these options.
No,
I left at 15 and it was almost like, you've got none. You're either going to go on EastEnders or you're going to go over on a podcast.
You've just done a longer pilgrimage to get to where you've got to, that's all. You've got to think
no, and I'm greyer and wiser. But look, We've been chatting for ages, probably a lot longer than what you think, but I want to talk just about advice for anyone that wants to work within the education sector, anyone that's thinking about getting into work within education. What would it be?
Oh, that's a difficult question. I don't really know how to answer that one, in all honesty. So obviously, I've been at college for quite some time, and I think sometimes you forget the range of careers and opportunities there are within a college or a university. We have around about 800 staff who work at the college.
Wow.
Some might do as little as kind of one evening delivery, one teaching one night a week, through to obviously all of our full-time staff. So we've got a big group of staff who work at the college in all different areas, lots to think about, lots of different careers to think about in terms of just working at the college or working at the university. So we are lucky in the York region that there's a lot of educational institutions to think about and careers within those institutions. So yeah, vast range of careers to think about. Yeah. I don't teach, so I have done a low-level teaching qualification, but teaching wasn't for me. It's not my thing. But in the teaching arena, there are all sorts of careers there to think about and lots of different routes to go down to get into that. And coming to teach at York College, we're looking for different lecturers at different times. Have a look on our website, but people can come to the college who've got the experience and then do qualifications to while they're at college with us.
Do you think there's quite a good level of retention of staff in your sort of work environment? Or you don't have to answer this actually, because this could be a little bit comment.
No. At York College, we have really good retention of staff. People obviously come and go and move on and move to different institutions, but we have a lot of staff who've been at the college for a long time. So,
and why do you think that? Why do you think that is?
Because it's lovely. It's lovely working at the college.
There you go. It's all about that, isn't it? I talk to you about all the time. No, I have a lovely place to work, and no one wants to leave.
No one ever wants
nice
to
culture.
leave.
Culture, absolutely.
No, we do genuinely have a good culture at the college. Yeah, it's not perfect. Nowhere's perfect. We're doing lots of development. We've got our new principal, lots of development, lots of changes. But as I've said, I love it. I've been there a long time, and support. I'm pro York College.
Yeah, no, we see a glimmer of that. Yeah, no. I suppose it's the support possibly that you get to develop, which is
that's the other thing. We are an education institution, so of course we want all of our staff to develop, and there's lots of opportunities for staff to undertake programs. There's lots of support for staff. I volunteer as a listening ear, so if that's somebody who's there for other staff to link up with, just to have a little bit of a chat, to have a moan, to talk about issues that they might have, to do a little bit of signposting if people have got some difficulties, just someone to sort of talk to and support and look at well-being and have chats about those kind of things and do sort of some mental health support, those kind of things. So we've got all sorts of initiatives to support staff at the college. So yeah, it's a very caring environment.
That's lovely.
Great insight.
If people want to get hold of you, so...
If they want to get a hold of me, they can have a look for me on LinkedIn, Sue Newton-Denton on LinkedIn. They can email partnerships@yorkcollege.ac.uk. They can email me directly, snewtondenton@yorkcollege.ac.uk, or just message me on LinkedIn if that's the easiest.
Lovely.
I'll get back in touch.
Could we put Sue's contact detail on the...
Yeah, on the episode.
On the episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people want to get hold of you, I'm sure.
Yeah. No.
So, thank you so much.
Thank you.